The second I spotted her car outside that hotel, I knew. My chest tightened like a vice, and I gripped the steering wheel so hard it felt like it might snap in two. It was the same black Mercedes she had claimed was in the shop all week. The one I bought her last year for our anniversary. But it wasn't just the car that stopped me cold, it was her. She stepped out of the building, laughing, arm-linked with some tall guy in a suit. Real polished type. Had his hands on her like he owned her. My wife. Laughing. With him. I could not move. Could barely breathe. My pulse thundered in my ears. I had suspected things for a while, but now I had it right in front of me, proof. No more guessing. No more benefit of the doubt. Then, just as that realization landed in my gut, something else happened. A crash. Another car plowed into her parked Mercedes. Glass exploded. Metal screamed. People yelled. The man yanked her back just in time. Everything turned into chaos. And then she saw me. Her eyes locked with mine from across the lot. For a second, I expected shock, maybe fear. But nope, she was mad. Not sorry. Not scared. Furious. She stormed over, pushing through the crowd, her face twisted like I had ruined her night. I rolled down the window as she reached my car. What the hell are you doing here, Jake? She spat. I looked at her, then at the man behind her. Him. The one she picked. I took a long breath and kept my voice steady. No, Emily. The question is, what the hell are you doing here? Her face faltered for just a moment, but she pulled it together fast. Arms crossed. Chin raised. Are you spying on me now? Is that it? I laughed. Bitter. Cold. Spying? I left work early and just happened to see my wife leaving a hotel with another man. The same wife who told me her car was in the shop. She did not even blink. Grow up, Jake. I was having dinner with a friend. Stop acting like some obsessed lunatic. I looked at the man. He said nothing, just stood there like a scarecrow in a $1,000 suit. A friend, I repeated. You're unbelievable. She smirked. You're pathetic. That hit a nerve. I opened the door and stepped out. Pathetic is sneaking around like a high schooler and thinking I would never find out. She rolled her eyes. This is exactly why she stopped herself. Oh? Why you what, Emily? I stepped closer. Her jaw clenched. She turned to the man. Let's go, Nathan. Nathan. That was his name. Great. Now the guy had a face and a name. I watched him closely. He looked uncomfortable now, realizing this wasn't some anonymous affair anymore. This was real. Consequences real. Maybe we should talk somewhere else, he said, low. Emily whipped around. Stop being a coward. She turned back to me. Go home, Jake. We'll talk later. I laughed out loud. No, Emily. We're past talking. But she was already walking away, like I was a stain she could wipe off her day. Then my phone buzzed. A message from her. If you do anything stupid, you'll regret it. I stared at the screen. She had no clue. She thought she could cheat, lie, smirk, and then send a warning like that would shut me down. She had no idea who I had become. I stayed calm. Barely. Losing it here, in public, would not help me. But inside, I was already rewinding everything, the night she worked, late, the missed calls, the lack of touch. I had been a fool. This was not new. I looked at her Mercedes, now crushed. It felt symbolic. Her perfect little lies finally took a hit. I could have walked away. Could have dealt with it all quietly. But then she made one last mistake. She glanced over her shoulder and smiled. Like she had one. Like I was the joke. And that was it. Something flipped. I walked toward her, slow and steady. She noticed. She froze by Nathan's car. What now, Jake? She asked, exasperated. Nathan looked uncomfortable again. He had not signed up for this. I looked straight at him. Does your wife know, Nathan? Emily stiffened. You're being ridiculous, she muttered. I ignored her. Let me guess. You tell her you're working late. You're always so busy. Emily used to tell me the same thing. Nathan's hands twitched. His eyes darted. I kept going. What do you think she'll say when I message her? Don't you dare, Emily hissed. Oh, I dare, I said, pulling out my phone. Matter of fact, I think she deserves to know. Nathan panicked. Wait, listen, man. I raised a hand. Shut it, Nathan. You made your choices. Emily was livid. Jake, if you send that. What, Emily? I stepped close, lowered my voice. You'll cheat harder? Her eyes blazed. Not regret. Just rage. That same selfish anger she always wore when the spotlight wasn't on her. I smirked. We're even now. Then I hit send. Her face cracked for the first time. She lunged for my phone, but I was ready. I pulled it back and stepped away. She came at me like she had lost her mind, eyes wild, voice shaking with fury. "You bastard," she screamed, clawing at my arm. "You think this is funny?" I just slipped my phone into my pocket and let out a small chuckle. "No, Emily," I said calmly. "I think it's justice." Nathan looked like he was going to be sick. Hands shaking, he fumbled for his phone like it was going to save him, probably praying I was bluffing. He barely had time to check his screen before it lit up, buzzing with the consequences of every lie he told. Too late. Whatever peace he had left just vanished. Emily spun around, turning on him fast. "Don't believe a word he says, baby," she pleaded, switching tones like flipping a light switch. "We can fix this. Please, we can fix this." I laughed loud and hard. "Baby?" I echoed. "Is that what you call him in bed too?" She spat at me. Actually spat. It landed near my foot. I stared at her, stunned for a second. "You're disgusting," I muttered. She curled her lip and fired back. "And you're pathetic." Meanwhile, Nathan looked ready to crawl into the pavement. His hands trembled as he pulled his keys from his pocket, like he could run away from the whole mess if he just got to his car fast enough. His phone rang again. He hesitated, then answered. "Hey, honey," he said, barely above a whisper. The voice that came through the phone was sharp and furious, his wife. She was screaming loud enough for all of us to hear. Emily's face dropped. "Nathan, hang up," she said quickly. "This isn't what it looks like. We can work this out." He stepped back from her. "No, we can't," he snapped. "You told me it was over with him. You lied." He turned to me. "You two were still married?" 5 years, I said with a grin. "Paid for her car, her apartment, her little getaways. All me." "You're welcome." Nathan's face drained of all color. He turned and started walking to his car, still holding the phone to his ear, his wife's voice screeching at him. Emily chased after him, grabbing at his sleeve. "Nathan, do not walk away from me. We love each other." He did not even glance back. He got in, slammed the door, and drove off like the pavement was on fire behind him. And just like that, she was alone. The air went quiet. For once, she had nothing to say. I let out a slow breath. My chest didn't feel so tight anymore. "Looks like neither of us has a spouse now," I said quietly. She spun toward me, rage burning in her eyes. "This is not over, Jake." I smirked and started walking back to my car. "No, Emily. It's just beginning." She stood there trembling, her fists clenched like she could still somehow undo the whole thing. This wasn't the carefully curated version of her the world knew. This was raw, ugly, real. As I opened my door, she threw one more shot at me. "You think you've won?" she snapped. "You think this little scene means anything? I'll ruin you, Jake. You'll lose everything." I turned to face her, leaning against the frame of the car. "I already lost everything the moment I believed you." She laughed bitterly. "Oh, come on. You're not some innocent angel. You were boring. Predictable. You thought buying me things would make me love you." That one stung, not because it was true, but because it showed how little she ever valued any of it. Any of me. I smiled. Then why go through all that trouble to hide it? Why sneak around, lie, delete messages, hide calls, if I was such a joke to you? For the first time, she hesitated. She had no answer. I let the silence sink in, then reached into my pocket again. "By the way," I said, unlocking my phone. "I recorded everything." Her eyes widened. "You're bluffing." I tapped play. The audio started to roll, her yelling, admitting the affair, screaming at Nathan. Every word crisp and clear. She went pale. "You can't use that." "Oh, but I can," I said, locking the screen. "And I will. My lawyer is going to have a field day with this." She lunged again, but I stepped to the side, and she nearly stumbled. "Good luck explaining this in court," I said, pulling the car door closed behind me. She was gasping, furious, unraveling. The tower she built for herself was finally collapsing. I rolled the window down. "Oh, and Emily?" She looked up, tears mixed with rage. "I hope he was worth it." Then I hit the gas and drove off, leaving her standing in the ruins of her own lies. The road blurred past me. My grip was tight, but my heart wasn't pounding from heartbreak anymore. That part was done. What I felt now was something clearer, something stronger. Freedom. She had no more power over me. Her lies, her threats, her games, they were done. I pulled into the driveway. My driveway. My home. And for the first time in a long time, it actually felt like mine again. I stepped into the living room and just stood there a second, looking around. The couch where she used to curl up next to me like we had something real. The kitchen where she once laughed while cooking dinner, acting like we were happy. It hit me all at once, how fake it all had been. Every laugh, every kiss, every, I love you. Nothing but a show. My phone buzzed. Emily, Jake, let's talk. Please. I stared at the message and shook my head. She still thought she could talk her way out of this. Still thought I was the same guy who believed her lies. I dropped the phone on the counter and walked down the hall to the bedroom. Her side of the bed was untouched, the pillow still fluffed like she had not slept there in weeks. And all those nights I lay awake, blaming myself, wondering if I was doing something wrong, all while she was out doing who knows what. Not anymore. I pulled a suitcase out of the closet and started packing. I was done playing house with a stranger. The phone buzzed again. Emily, don't do anything stupid. We need to talk. Now she was worried. Not about me. About losing her grip on the one thing she thought she could always control, me. I ignored it. Kept folding clothes. Then headlights swept across the front window. Tires screeched in the driveway. She was here. Knock. Knock. Then pounding. Jake. Open the damn door. I sighed, walked to the front, and cracked it open just enough. Go home, Emily. If you don't open this door, I swear it. I yanked it open before she could finish. There she was. Hair a mess, eyes wide with panic. Not broken. Just mad. Mad that her little game had blown up in her face. You're not leaving, she said, storming into the house like she still owned the place. I leaned against the wall. Sure looks like I am. Her eyes darted to the suitcase on the floor. Where the hell do you think you're going? Away from you. She scoffed. You're being so dramatic. Acting like you're the victim. I stepped toward her, voice low. I'm not acting, Emily. I am the victim. She opened her mouth like she wanted to argue, but I had already had enough. I pointed to the door. Get out. You're kicking me out of our house? I smiled. My house. Paid for by me. You? You were just visiting. She hesitated. First time I had seen her hesitate since this whole mess started. Jake, she said, softer now. Voice lowered. Crocodile tears on the way. Come on. Let's just calm down. We can talk this through. I raised my phone. I've got the recordings. The proof. Everything I need to make sure you walk away with nothing. Her face went pale. You wouldn't. Try me. Silence. And for the first time, she actually looked scared. Not because she loved me. Not because she regretted a damn thing. But because she finally realized she had lost. Her hands curled into fists. Jaw clenched tight. That sweet little mask she always wore? Gone. Now she just looked like someone who made a bad bet and watched it crash. You're making a mistake, Jake, she hissed, trying to sound tough. I chuckled. That's rich coming from the woman who nuked our marriage in a hotel parking lot. She took a step toward me, voice low again. Like maybe she could still steer the conversation her way. You don't have to do this. We build a life, Jake. You don't throw that away over one mistake. I raised an eyebrow. One? Emily, do not insult me. This wasn't a mistake. It was a decision. One you made over and over again. She blinked fast, trying to come up with a response. But I didn't let her get a word in. You lied. You cheated. You turned our marriage into a joke. And now? You don't get to cry your way out of it. You don't get to play the part of the heartbroken wife. I stepped closer until we were nearly face to face. This is what accountability looks like. She bit her lip. And then, like an animal backed into a corner, she lashed out. Fine, she shouted. You want to act like you're some innocent angel? Give me a break. You were dull. Predictable. A weak little man who thought throwing money at me would keep me around. I clenched my jaw, forced myself to breathe through my nose. She wanted me to react. She needed it. But I wasn't going to give her that. Instead, I smiled calm. Cold. If I was so weak, I said, why were you so afraid of me finding out? She froze. I saw it. That flicker of truth in her eyes. That realization that she was not holding the cards anymore. And right then, her phone buzzed. She looked down at the screen. I just watched her. Because whatever was on that screen, it was about to be the last nail in her coffin. I did not even need to ask. I knew exactly who was calling. Nathan's wife. The second Emily glanced at her phone, her whole face changed. I just smirked. Looks like I wasn't the only one sending out messages tonight. Her eyes shot up to mine, wide with panic. Jake, she whispered, her voice trembling. I just shrugged. Actions have consequences, Emily. She opened her mouth, closed it again, like she was digging through that broken brain of hers for some excuse. But nothing came out. For once, there was no script to save her. No half-truth or fake apology to crawl behind. The truth had finally caught up, and it was staring her dead in the face. I stepped back and pulled the door open wider. "You should go." She blinked, unsure if she heard me right. "You're serious?" "Dead serious." She looked around like she was trying to find a way to undo this. Some last-second trick to flip the story. But there was nothing left. No more lifelines. No more masks. She clenched her jaw. "You'll regret this." I chuckled, calm and steady. "No, Emily. You will." She grabbed her purse off the counter and stormed toward the door. Just before crossing the threshold, she hissed under her breath, "You're pathetic." I did not even move. I did not flinch. I had heard that one too many times for it to matter now. She stepped outside, then spun around one last time, eyes burning. "This isn't over, Jake." I met her stare. My voice was flat, cold. "Yeah, it is." And I slammed the door. The sound echoed through the house like a thunderclap. And then silence. Real silence. No more walking on eggshells. No more second-guessing. No more pretending that love was still somewhere underneath the mess. I leaned against the door and took a long breath. My hands were steady. My heart wasn't racing. And I realized something strange. I felt good. Not bitter. Not broken. Just free. She was gone. Her lies. Her games. The poison she brought into every corner of this house. All of it, gone. I stepped back inside and looked around. This place finally felt like mine again. Not a stage I was performing on. Not some set where I played the part of a good husband while she was off screwing around behind the scenes. Then my phone buzzed. I figured it was another message from her, trying to guilt me, pull me back in. But it wasn't. It was from Nathan's wife. "Thank you." I smiled. Guess Emily was not the only one watching her life come apart tonight. I set the phone down, grabbed a bottle of whiskey from the kitchen, poured a glass, and headed to the couch. For the first time in years, I sat back and actually breathed. No lies. No fights. No pretending. She thought I would be destroyed. That I would beg, plead, chase her around like a sad puppy. But I was not broken. Not even close. I had been reborn. I took a slow sip, let the burn settle in my chest. She had said this was not over. And maybe it was not for her. She was the one who had to live with the truth now. That she lost the only man who actually gave a damn about her. That the one person who would have stood by her through anything finally walked away. That was her punishment. And it was going to last a hell of a lot longer than mine. I raised my glass to the quiet room. To freedom. And for the first time in a long time, I actually meant it.